Once he's seen Jahannam, he has never smiled or laughed. But Jibreel added, were he to have smiled for anybody, it would have been you. He then proceeded onward. So we are now basically above the 7th heaven. He has met all of the prophets, including Ibrahim alayhi salam. And now he proceeds onwards above this. What is beyond this? He said, and then I saw in front of me the Sidratul Muntaha. What is the Sidratul Muntaha? The Sidra is a type of tree that is known for its large branches, and it's known for its delicious fruit and sweet scent. And Muntaha means the very end. So the Sidra at the end, this is how it translates into. In English, this is called the lot tree. And the Prophet ﷺ said, the fruits of this tree were as large as the water jars of Hajar. And then he said, its leaves are like the ears of the elephant. And then I was told, هذه سدرة المنتهى. This is the Sidratul Muntaha. In a hadith in Bukhari, he said, ثُمَّ انطَلَقَ بِي. Then Jibreel continued going up with me until we got to the Sidratul Muntaha. فَغَشِيَهَا أَلْوَانٌ. There were colors basically going up and down the tree. لَا أَدْرِ مَا هِي. I don't know what those colors are. And Allah Azza wa Jal Himself says in the Quran, إِذْ يَغْشَ السِّدْرَةَ مَا يَغْشَى. That when the tree was covered up by what it was covered up with. Allah doesn't tell us what. This is the last thing that the Prophet ﷺ saw before he went above to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we know that everything that rises up from earth stops at Sidratul Muntaha. Allah says in many verses that Allah raises things up. The soul's prayers, du'as, good deeds, right? Kalimat tayyib, all of these things, Allah raises it up. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud said that the Prophet ﷺ said, then when I went on the Isra, I stopped at the Sidratul Muntaha, and he said, it is in the 6th heavens. At the Sidratul Muntaha, everything that ascends up from the earth stops there. And it is basically absorbed by the Sidratul Muntaha. And from it descends down everything that is coming to this earth, and it emerges from it. So Allah's rahmah and the rain and anything that Allah wants to send down starts from the Sidratul Muntaha. The Prophet ﷺ said, فَرَاشٌ مِّن ذَهَبٍ. So one of the things that is surrounding the tree are beautiful butterflies with exotic colors made out of gold. مَا زَاغَ الْبَصَرُ وَمَا طَغَى. The eyes of the Prophet ﷺ did not move beyond that, nor did they go astray. Then Allah says, لَقَدْ رَأَى مِنْ آيَاتِ رَبِّهِ الْكُبْرَى. Looking at this tree, Allah says, He has seen of the ayat al-kubra. And if Allah is saying this is a major ayah, then what is bigger than this, right? The Prophet ﷺ said, it kept on changing until nobody can describe it for you. It's an ever-changing tree. Then the Prophet ﷺ said, and at the base of the Sidratul Muntaha, there are 4 rivers coming down. 2 of these are hidden, and 2 of these are open. So I said to Jibreel, what are these rivers? So Jibreel said, as for the hidden ones, they are ones in Jannah. You're not going to see them in this world. And as for the ones that everybody can see, the river Nile and the Euphrates river. Jibreel is telling him that the Nile and the Euphrates are blessed rivers. As for the 2 rivers of Jannah, they are Al-Kawthar and Salsabil. In one version, the Prophet ﷺ said, ثُمَّ رُفِعَ لِي الْبَيْتُ الْمَعْمُورِ. Then I saw Al-Bayt al-Ma'mur. In one hadith, it says that, so I passed basically Ibrahim in the 7th heaven, and then I saw Sidrat al-Muntaha. In the other hadith in Sahih Muslim, the Prophet ﷺ said, and then I went to Sidrat al-Muntaha, and it is in the 6th heavens. Imam al-Nawawi tries to explain this, and it seems like a good explanation. The trunk of the tree begins in the 6th heaven, but its branches finish at the end of the 7th heaven. Nothing of the creation of this world, at least, is beyond the Sidratul Muntaha, right? The only thing that is beyond it is the throne and the one who is above the throne. And then he saw Jibreel alayhi salam in his original form. Jibreel had 600 wings. He blocked the entire horizons. And he said in another hadith in At-Tabari, from the feathers of Jibreel's wings, pearls and corals were dripping. Allah says in the Quran, most of the angels, Allah says, 2 or 3 or 4 wings. But Jibreel alayhi salam, in this hadith we learn he has 600 wings. 3 things he saw one after the other at the highest level. Number 1, Sidrat al-Muntaha. Number 2, Bayt al-Ma'mur. Number 3, Jibreel. This is the reference in the Quran, لَقَدْ رَأَى مِنْ آيَاتِ رَبِّهِ الْكُبْرَى. He saw of his major signs. And it is said that the Prophet ﷺ only saw Jibreel in his original form twice. Then Ibn Mas'ud said the Prophet ﷺ was given 3 things. Number 1, the 5 salah. We're going to come to that. Number 2, Khawatimu Surat al-Baqarah. The ending of Surah al-Baqarah. And number 3, Allah promised him that whoever worshipped him from his ummah without doing shirk, that he will be forgiven and caused to enter Jannah. And the Prophet ﷺ said that the last 2 verses of Surah Al-Baqarah, I have been given them from underneath the throne of the treasure of Allah. And we know that whoever recites these 2 verses, Allah will protect him. In another hadith he said, whoever recites these 2 verses on a nightly basis, يعني كفتاه, they're going to be enough for him. He doesn't need anything else. It was then that the Prophet ﷺ went to the gist of Al-Isra, and that is the divine appointment. In Sahih Bukhari, the Prophet ﷺ says, then I was caused to ascend forth in the singular, not Jibreel anymore. And I rose to a level where I could hear the pen writing. As the Prophet ﷺ said, the first thing that Allah created was the pen. And then Allah told the pen, uktub. So the pen asked Allah, what should I write? And Allah said, write everything that will happen until the end, until Yawm al-Qiyamah. Write everything. He went beyond Jibreel, he went beyond even the Sidrat al-Muntaha, and he heard the divine pen as it was writing in the book that Allah Azza wa Jal has with him. There is a book that Allah has above the throne. And therefore, it is, inshaAllah, legitimate to say that the Prophet ﷺ went to a level that no living creature has ever been to as far as we know. But we don't have any details about what was said except for the 50 salawat. That Allah Azza wa Jal, فُرِضَتْ عَلَيَّ, the Prophet ﷺ said, فُرِضَتْ عَلَيَّ الصَّلَوَاتُ 50 صَلَاةً كُلَّ يَوْمٍ, 50 salawat every single day. And he goes back down and he meets Musa. What did your Lord tell you for your ummah? So here the Prophet ﷺ says that my Lord told me that I should tell my ummah to pray 50 times a day. Here Musa says, go back to your Lord and tell him to lower this, because I have more experience than you with the Bani Israel, and your ummah will not be able to do 50 times a day. The Prophet ﷺ looked at Jibreel wanting to get his opinion. فَأَنَّهُ يَسْتَشِيرُهُ, the riwayah says, as if he's getting his opinion. And Jibreel nodded to him, yes, do that. So the Prophet ﷺ went back up. Now here is where the riwayah differ. Some of them say it went down 5, 5, 5. Others say it went down 10, 10, 10. But really the point is the same. And that is multiple times back and forth, at least 5 times. And every time Musa is telling him the same thing, that go back to your Lord and ask him to lower it, because I have tested the children of Israel and they will not be able to do this. Your ummah will not be able to do this. Until finally when he came back down with 5, this was when Musa said it one more time, and the Prophet ﷺ said, I have gone back and forth until I am embarrassed now, but I am content and happy. So when he said this, a voice called out, and this is the voice of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. My fariḍah has been established, and I have made things easier for my servants. It is 5, but it shall be rewarded with 50. So the messenger is summoned to the presence of the divine. And what is then decreed? And that is the salah. It was so important that the messenger was called to the King of Kings to receive the message directly from the divine. There is a controversy, did he see Allah or not? The strongest opinion, as we'll talk about, he did not see Allah, but he had a private meeting in which he saw the veil of Allah. And this is clearly proven that Abu Dharr al-Ghifari radiallahu ta'ala an asked him directly, did you see your Lord? And the Prophet ﷺ responded, there was light. How could I see him? There was the light of Allah's hijab. Because another hadith of Sahih Muslim says, Allah has a hijab of nur. If Allah were to lift this veil, then the rays that come from His face would destroy everything that it sees. The beginning portions of Surah An-Najm describe certain of these incidents. وَالنَّجْمِ إِذَا هَوَى مَا ضَلَّ صَاحِبُكُمْ وَمَا غَوَى وَمَا يَنْطِقُ عَنِ الْهَوَى, that when the star, when it goes down, your companion has neither gone astray nor has he erred, and he's not speaking from his imagination. What he is saying, إِنْ هُوَ إِلَّا وَحْيٌ يُوحَى. This is wahi from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not just the Quran, everything that he's seeing is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. عَلَّمَهُ شَدِيدُ الْقُوَى. He has been taught by the one who is mighty in power. The reference is Jibreel. ذُو مِرَّةٍ فَاسْتَوَى. ذُو مِرَّة means he is free of any defect. فَاسْتَوَى وَهُوَ بِالْأُفُقِ الْأَعْلَى means Jibreel revealed himself at the highest of heavens. ثُمَّ دَنَا فَتَدَلَّى. And then Jibreel came closer and closer. فَكَانَ قَابَ قَوْسَيْنِ أَوْ أَدْنَى. Jibreel was closer to the Prophet ﷺ than 2 bows length, bow and arrow. فَأَوْحَى إِلَىٰ عَبْدِهِ مَا أَوْحَى. After the encounter with Jibreel, he moved on to an even higher encounter.